This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
I'm coming out of my head. I wanna know that you want me. Can you kiss me? They say we came from a stardust, a mix of chaos and bliss. I wanna feel like I'm something. Can you hear me breathing? And if everything means nothing, and only you and me are something, but we could be a miracle. Yeah, we could be a miracle. But we could be a miracle.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Okay, as you know, it does not matter who the host is. It never has, never will, and it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, because that's kind of the factor into it. Anyways, today's Wednesday, September the 24th of 2025, day 267th of the year, and only 98 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yep, some infiltration in Radio Big is kind of how we go about doing some of the things, no doubt about that. So anyways, how's the last 24 hours or so been for you? Because it's always an important time to have a better understanding of those things, no doubt there. So let's not pretend in regards to some of the stuff that is going on. We know that. So there you go. Anyways, our show consists of safety in the news and... Yeah, safety in the news and safety. Yeah, that's what it consists of. We talk a little bit about this, talk a little bit about that, and then kind of bring you the plethora of things that are available throughout this multiverse of ours. No doubt about that. So, as we are hanging out, doing our thing, a lot of stuff going on inside of here. We talk, we move, we groove. So, as we go through the whole gamut of stuff, we bring in some professional broadcasters that will talk a little bit about the news, and then you have yours truly here, and we'll just talk a little bit about everything that's going on that's making me happy, making me pissed, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. I don't know. It gets kind of interesting as we go throughout the whole gamut of stuff, that is for sure. Anyways, if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to a place called callinradio.com. Once you get to callinradio.com and you click on the section there, you'll see all kinds of options. There'll be video, audio, and text messaging that is very, moving forward, kind of looking through and doing all that kind of fun stuff. That is kind of the way that we do it. So here you go. Why don't we start talking about what the hell was trending in the overnight? Because I think that's going to be important for a portion of our conversation. That is for sure. So let's take a look at the trends. Let's do that.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as we take a look at the trends of the ends, notable and noteworthy, Trump's second would be notable and noteworthy, Trump's second would be an assassin is convicted. Yeah, we'll have to explain that a little bit better as we go. Also, Taylor Swift, gets a restraining order, and Diddy's attorney thinks that he's being punished. So there you go. We'll talk about that as we get into show business. And then the return of Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to talk about that as we get into casting calls, no doubt about that. And then high praise for the House of Sussex. This is going to be coming as we're talking about the Royals. So there you go. We'll have some stuff for you as we are going out. Anyways, a lot of people are already replying back about the interview that was released yesterday between yours truly and Sheldon Primus. And yeah, let's kind of make sure that we get the flippity flop there understood correctly. It's Sheldon Primus interviewing me, not the other way around. So there you go. We did it on his podcast, on Safety Consultant Podcast. Also, yesterday, if you have not heard, a HOP podcast with no name with Matt Florio and Andrea Baker hit our airwaves on safetyfm.com or via the app, where you can actually take a listen to that 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So, yeah, some changes in the lineup, always a good time as we get some things moving around and all that kind of fun stuff. That's the great. I mean, I've been doing the radio stuff, at least for the Safety FM side, since, let's see, we're going on a little over 7 years now. And it's just amazing kind of the fluidity of the stuff that I've seen change throughout the years. And always the first question is like, is everything good? Of course things are good. Yeah, that's the kind of the way that it goes. It's the radio business. Anyways, Whip 'em Out Wednesday, so thank you. We are enjoying ourselves over here always, no doubt about that. But with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get into the news, because I got my friends from Feature Story News waiting over there.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. Super Typhoon Ragasa has lashed Hong Kong with hurricane-force winds and torrential rain. In Taiwan, heavy downpours have resulted in the deaths of at least 14 people. Laura Westbrook reports from Hong Kong.
Well, Hong Kong has raised its highest storm warning signal, the number 10 signal, and that means that hurricane force winds are in effect. So overnight, I could really feel the winds picking up where I was, the windows rattling overnight. The city's weather forecaster says it expects that highest storm warning signal to remain in place for some time.
US President Donald Trump has delivered a scathing attack on globalism at the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. In a lengthy speech, he told global leaders their countries are being ruined by immigration and questioned the UN's purpose. Tony Waterman at UN headquarters says Trump also targeted climate initiatives.
He also focused the speech a lot on immigration and green energy, and he linked them together, saying that they are destroying the free world. He said that green energy is the biggest con job in history, and he went on at length about this. And of course, President Trump, under his leadership, pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord. So his speech was stuff that we have heard repeatedly before. He praised himself a lot, praised his accomplishments a lot. And it also was this major attack on the fundamentals of the UN.
India has reportedly agreed to reduce purchases of Russian oil as it negotiates a trade pact with the US. Latest oil import data, however, shows New Delhi continues to buy close to 1.7 million barrels per day from Moscow. Ishan Garg tells us more from New Delhi.
A Washington Post article says India has quietly agreed to reduce its dependence on Russian oil as US pressure is mounting on New Delhi. Donald Trump's administration says India is fueling Russia's war machinery and cited this reason to impose 50% tariffs on it. Now, as India looks to soften the blow on its economy, it's holding trade talks with the US. Officials have yet to comment on reports of India reducing Russian oil imports, but data from private trading firms shows imports dipping slightly but remaining broadly in the range of 1.7 to 2 million barrels per day. New Delhi has said it is looking to diversify its oil procurement, hoping it will help reach a deal with the US sooner.
On his return to TV, US talk show host Jimmy Kimmel has criticised threats to free speech after he was temporarily removed from the air over comments made about the death of Charlie Kirk. But much of the country wasn't able to watch, as some local affiliates are refusing to air the programme. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on the spiralling dangers of the Ukraine war spinning out of control and of Russia drawing NATO into open conflict. On Tuesday, President Trump said he now believes that Ukraine can win all its territory back from Russia, a massive 180-degree U-turn that followed his bilateral meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the fringes of the UN General Assembly. Earlier this week, Russian fighters violated Estonian airspace just days after Russian drones violated Polish airspace, both of those countries NATO members.
We've got to watch that these provocations don't lead us into a full-scale conflict.
Lord George Robertson is the former Secretary-General of NATO.
He's doing a probing exercise and he needs to be told very clearly, very bluntly, and without any equivocation at all, that if he keeps doing that, there will be huge consequences for him and for his military. If it's clear enough to the Russians and to others what the consequences will be of attacking any of the countries that are covered by Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty, then I think they'll back off. Robustness and deterrence is what we basically need at the moment.
What prompted President Trump's U-turn on Tuesday is unclear, but it was music to the ears of European leaders gathered at the UN in New York, who can only hope he means it. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
FSN is an independent source of news for TV, radio and digital networks worldwide. You can find more of our minute-by-minute updates on Twitter. Follow us there at Feature Story. And we have a wealth of audio and video stories from our global news bureaus on Facebook. You can find us there by following Feature Story News. Stay tuned for further updates right here. But for now, that's the latest Feature Story News. William Denzelo reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home title locks put a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, there you go. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out on the Rated R Safety Show. That's for sure. So as we are doing our thing, no doubt about that. Okay, so let's start talking about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is kind of part of the gig of what we do around here. No doubt about that one. So as we are taking a look around and taking a look at this, taking a look at that and all that stuff, Ryan Roth, was convicted yesterday in all 5 counts connected to his attempted assassination of President Trump last year. So Roth, who represented himself at the trial, reportedly tried to stab himself in the neck as the verdict was read, and marshals swiftly intervened and shackled him. And amid the chaos, Roth's daughter reportedly shouted, "Don't do anything. I'm going to get you out of here." Roth will be sentenced on on December the 18th is what it's looking like here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. That's for sure. Let's see. In a Truth Justice post, Trump wrote in part, a very big moment for justice in America. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of there as we are talking. I mean, what an interesting time. I mean, I don't know if I'm trying to make sure that I got this one right. Is this the one where the guy was hanging out in the bushes that had the pew pew or the gun in regards to what was going on? Because I believe that it was. And it's kind of crazy when you start thinking about all this stuff. It's like, I don't understand what was the point behind the whole thing. But this is what we're getting to in regard to some of the strangeness that just happens in this thing that we so call life. So I don't know. It should not be a norm. Let's just put it to you that way. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Google's announced on Tuesday that it would reinstate YouTube accounts that were shut down on the request of the Biden administration during the pandemic. The chief counsel for Google's parent company said that Biden administration created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the action of the platforms, calling it unacceptable and wrong. Let's see. So there you go. There you go. So this is according to the editor. Because of Tuesday's afternoon, there was not a single story about this on the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, CNN, ABC News, CBS News, or ABC News. I think they meant NBC News. Let's see. And by later in the evening, the New York Times wrote about the technology section. But sure, please tell us about the danger of the government censoring speech that it doesn't like. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world for the sure in regards to this. I don't know. We keep on having these conversations about censorship. But if you look at that timeline, there's kind of a weird censorship thing going on there too. So I don't know. But here's the way that I look at it. There's a lot of stuff that we are able always to talk about post-event instead of pre-event. So maybe that's part of the conversation that we need to have going forward. No doubt about that one for sure.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, WTF. Welcome to Florida. A Florida man named Zeke Clark says that he shot and killed a bear that had wandered into his house, though, through the garage. The bear first entered the living room where Clark's mother-in-law was sitting. She started screaming, "Bear in the house." Clark says that it is when that he all hell broke loose. The spooked bear then made it down the hall into the bathroom and then jumped into the shower, says Clark. Clark was able to lock the door shut and then get at his gun. Just like a tactical situation, Clark opened the door long enough to fire a shot. When he realized that it didn't bring the bear down, Clark quickly opened the door and then fired 2 more rounds. No words on the species of the bear, but Clark says that he was able to drag the body out of the top of the yard onto a tarp where Florida Fish and Wildlife was able to remove. Let's see. Clark describes the encounter as pure fear, adding that seeing the animal become that big come at you, coming face to face with it was not something that you want to deal with. This is according to WEASH. In regards of what was going on. So it definitely makes it an interesting time as we are looking through the whole thing. But man, what an interesting time. Number one, because, it's Florida. So that always makes it interesting, automatic by submission alone. That's before you even get into any of the other nonsense of it being Florida. But also kind of what a weird thing to deal with when it's all said and done. No doubt there. So let's see if we can get some video feeds in regards to this. Hold on.
Shoot and kill a bear that managed to make its way inside his home.
Scary stuff, really. This
so here,
on Ponderosa Avenue.
There you go. Take a look. The bear is there.
Just west of State Road 44. West News' Pamela Coleman spoke with the homeowner about how the bear...
The house looks kind of, messed up. It's DeLand Lake County, right on the outside of Orlando.
Dead inside a Lake County bathroom. Not the scene you'd expect.
Holy monkeys, that thing's kind of big.
Avenue in the rural part of the county. But for one family Friday, it was a terrifying reality.
Pure fear for me. Seeing an animal that big coming at you and being face to face with it. It's not something I want to deal with.
He lives right by the woods, so he is no stranger to bears. In fact, he's seen
living by the woods should not make you a stranger to bears or not a stranger to bears. Not really something to talk about.
Into his garage, but this is the first time they've ventured this far into his home. Back in January, one got in, but Zeke Clark spotted it and let it out. 2 months ago, another one, but that one ate its way out of the garage. But Friday,
wouldn't we just keep the garage closed?
Snuck in through the garage door, but the automatic hinges closed behind it, trapping the bear inside.
That door doesn't look very sustainable, by the way. By the way, the guy, if you're not on the video streamer, has a hat on. We'll say a camo shirt, partially camo.
She screamed. The dog started barking. The bear bolted.
Bear was right here. Went running down the hallway.
The only open door? the bathroom.
Yeah, what an interesting time.
Clark shut the door behind it, and before it got to his family, he fired.
I was able to get the door back open again, shot one time inside the bathroom, shut the door again because the bear was trying to get back out, and then finished.
Yeah, I mean, you see the bullet holes and everything with the news story about what was going on, that's for sure.
FWC handled the rest. Now Clark's looking to upgrade his doorknobs and counting his blessings.
This could have been a much worse situation.
Yeah, sounds that way.
Covering Lake County, Pamela Combe, WESH 2 News.
FWC was at the house this morning collecting evidence. In a statement, they said
evidence?
FWC bear management staff will canvass the community for awareness and education, as well as monitor the area for additional bear activity of concern.
Additional bear activity.
Bears are in search of more food to increase their fat reserves for winter, secure attractants such as food, garbage, bird feeders, or grills, and lock external doors at night.
Okay, so there you go. What an interesting time. Thank you to WESH for that one. That's for sure. Wow. Yeah. You know how that goes. That's an interesting one for sure. Anyways, NASA says the Artemis 2 mission could launch as soon as February the 4th, 2 months ahead of the schedule, bringing humans back to the moon. The crew would not set foot on the lunar surface, though that's set for Artemis 3. The 10-day mission would take a 4-person crew, 3 astronauts, and a member of the Canadian Space Agency 5,000 miles past the moon on the trajectory farther from Earth than any human has traveled yet. If everything goes as planned, the earliest launch window for the Artemis 3 is for the middle. You ready for this? The middle of 2027. Let's try that again. The middle of 2027. So there you go. Meanwhile, China's space program just last month announced its intention to send manned missions to the moon by the end of the decade. So there you go. Take a listen to this one. Modelo Especial has been dethroned as Michelob Ultra as the nation's best-selling beer. The light lager beer was also the top seller in bars and restaurants over the past year. It's a big deal for Anheuser-Busch and Bev after Bud Light fell from grace following the disastrous collaboration with influencer Dylan Mulvaney. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about as we are going through. In some other news, as we're going to go ahead and get a little swampy. The president, President Trump addressed the United Nations on Tuesday despite facing ridiculous technical glitches. Let's see. In snafus, first the escalator that rises up the General Assembly area stopped working the moment Trump stepped on it. Then the teleprompter broke, so Trump read off of printed remarks. And finally, his microphone audio level was turned down compared to the other speakers. So much for turning down the temperature, as press secretary printed out on X. The Times of London reported on Sunday to mark Trump's arrival. UN staff member have joked that they may turn off the escalator and elevator and simply tell him they ran out of money so that he has to walk up the stairs. Meanwhile, Reuters posted on a video that the French president Emmanuel Macron calling Trump directly earlier on Tuesday morning because Macron wasn't allowed by the NYPD to cross the street while it was closed off for Trump's motorcade. Trump said that he had a meeting scheduled with 20 world leaders during his trip to the UN on Tuesday. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on as we are talking about it. No doubt about that as we are hanging. Radio. Okay, so let's talk about the numbers. The Dow fell 88 points to close at 46,292 on Tuesday. The S&P fell 36 points to close at 6,656, and the Nasdaq fell 215 points to close at 22,573. West Texas Intermediate closed at $63 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $67 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.17 on Tuesday, and Bitcoin fell again on Tuesday around $111.6 thousand. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for a $127 million jackpot or a $59 million cash payout. So If you want to play the game, you should play the game. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of there. Anyways, let's get a little bit into the show business news because some people will always want to talk about some of that stuff. And it's not so difficult to do so. Anyway, Taylor Swift has been granted a restraining order against ex-convicted Brian Jason Wagner, who showed up at her home multiple times claiming that she birthed his child. Wagner must stay 100 yards away from Swift and is forbidden from contacting her for 5 years. He also isn't allowed to own any firearms, ammunition, or body armor per the order. But here's the kicker. No one knows where Wagner is. This is according to The Sun. Meanwhile, a process server got arrested outside of Travis Kelce's home earlier this month for trying to serve Swift's deposition papers for Justin Baldoni's legal team. The guy was charged with jumping the fence onto private residence in a private neighborhood. The couple were reportedly home at the time of the incident. This is according to The Star. Well, I mean, that's kind of different. I mean, if you're jumping someone's fence and all that bullshit, opposed to kind of just ringing the doorbell like a normal person or, going to the fence and all that kind of fun stuff, yeah, you're probably doing something you shouldn't be doing. I mean, but I think that's kind of the known factor there, not one of those things where you go, oh, I didn't know anything about that. That's just news to me. So just something to think about as we are going through the whole thing. Anyways, as I continue talking, take a listen to this. Sean Combs' attorneys are requesting his near immediate release ahead of sentencing. They argue that since Combs was acquitted on more serious charges of sex trafficking, he should be get time served, calling his 14 months in prison a just punishment. Sentencing is still scheduled for October the 3rd. This is according to page 6. So today being the 24th, we're not that far away from just taking a listen to what's going on. Okay, so take a listen to this because this has been making the rounds. Just friends, it turns out, former astronomer CEO Andy Bryan and HR executive Kristen Cabot were allegedly not having an affair and just best buddies. Kristen and Andy had an excellent working relationship and a great friendship, and there was no affair, one source shared. While calling the fallout about their canoodling at a Coldplay concert as unfair. Get a load of this. The source tells people that Cabot's husband was on the date of his on his own date night, was on a date of his own that night at a very same Coldplay show. The source adds the alleged affair that isn't. There was no company box. It was a night with a big group of friends, an inappropriate moment. Worth asking, is this the case when why you duck and hide? This is according to U.S. Weekly. I mean, it's kind of an interesting question because that is not the interaction or the reaction of someone just being like, oh, yeah, we're just friends. We're just hanging out. We're just doing our thing, all that kind of fun stuff. That is not what it looked like at all.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
I don't know who gives a shit, but somebody might. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more and then we'll get into everything else. Gordon Ramsay was the victim of another swatting incident after someone made a hoax call to 911 claiming there was a shooting at his Bel Air mansion. LAPD responded to the residence on Monday evening where the caller claimed that he shot his brother, who has believed to be Ramsay. Upon arrival, officers discovered that there had not been a shooting. Ramsay wasn't home at the time of the incident, but officers did speak to a personal assistant who was on the scene. So far, no arrests have been made over the bogus call. This is according to NBCLA. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on as we are talking. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into our main story because it's time to do that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, so let's talk for a brief moment. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do this differently. Let's talk for a brief moment. Let's talk for a moment and have some discussions. And let's talk about this because I get so confused sometimes with some of the stuff that's going on. No, I'm not joking as I say that. This is some serious stuff. Some serious biz, if I may put it this way. But, there is this thing that we like to do in workplaces where all of a sudden, and believe me, I am as guilty as anybody else, that we get very hyped up about something new. And I can say hyped up in a good way, hyped up that I don't like the change, but we get hyped up about the weirdest things. Now, I will tell you, as much as I wanted to believe that 329 and 1 was the pyramid of pyramids, the things that was going to lead us to salvation, all that kind of fun stuff that you'd want to say. I was such a believer in regards that this was going to work. I remember that I was working at a pretty large transportation company, and part of the uniform requirement was that you would wear that bracelet that said 329 and 1 and be able to define exactly what it meant. Think about the mentality switch that was going on there. And at that particular moment in time, it was an interesting time as we talked about it, because we had this belief that things were going to change. And we had this belief that things were going to be good. Now, here's the funny part that we don't realize. Here's the funny part that we don't acknowledge sometimes. We believe that we're right until something proves that we're wrong. And after years of doing some of this stuff, I came to the realization that 329.1, even though theoretically it sounds great, it's not exactly how it happens. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is kind of impressive when you start thinking about it. It wasn't like the person had X amount of injuries that occurred. It wasn't like the person had X amount of incidents that occurred before they passed away inside of a workplace or had a severe injury. Even though we would love to have predictive text that would be able to tell us something like that, predictive data, imagine that, where you could say, oh, this is where it's going to happen next. Now, don't get me wrong. There are things inside of our system where people inside of our organization might be able to tell us where things are about to go wrong, just based on experience. But it wasn't like it led things down the path in that particular sequence where you looked at it and said, oh, yes, this is it. This is the end all be all. Just kind of how it goes. So anyways, with that being said, let's talk a little bit more. How do we change the paradigm inside of the workplace without it seeming like it's overhype? And maybe this is where we start having some of those science-y conversations. And we start having the conversation about how do things actually work. Because listen, our systems suck. They're not the greatest. We have ideas and we have modeling. And let me explain as I say that. As you model something, as you turn around and say this is how the things are going to be, doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it's going to work. You're going to do everything possible to make it work in that particular fashion. Let's just talk about something real quick. Imagine that you have an incident at your workplace. The incident does not involve any kind of fire. Okay? Let's just make sure that we are clear here. But you have somebody who is doing part of the investigation, and they are a fire/arsonist specialist. How much do you want to bet that part of that investigation is going to have information about it, about an arson or a fire issue? I am just saying, because that's how models work. You build a model based on the information that you have, and then you kind of go, okay, let's work the structure to see if it makes sense. And look at this for a moment. Not saying that that's wrong, but that's kind of how it goes. When you're building out anything with a hypothesis, that is how the testing goes. You're trying to use your hypothesis, your test, and your theory as everything's going to move forward. And then you go from there. Just how you want to prove your point. It's just the way the thing moves, man. So look at it from this point. What are you doing within the organization that is a belief system that is not correct, that needs to change? How does the paradigm shift actually occur where it makes sense? Those are the questions that one would ask. That is for sure. Think about it from that particular fashion because it makes things look much differently than what they look like now. It's a very interesting time when you start thinking, if we're modeling, how does the paradigm really change?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system. The simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories. When safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected, Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
The best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit. Radio Big.
A mix of chaos and bliss. I wanna feel like I'm something. Can you hear me breathing? And if everything means nothing, then only you and me are something. But we can be a miracle. Yeah, we could be a miracle.
Okay, here we are, 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, doing our thing here on the Rated R Safety Show, coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out on Radio Big. This right here is a song called Miracle by Kabrio. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music. So there you go. You can be a miracle.
I wanna smell like a sunset.
A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So there you go.
My ambition and release.
We would like to thank Kabrio for allowing us to play this. Songs available Apple Music, YouTube Music. Let's see, Pandora, Spotify. Yeah, that's it. Those are the ones. Thanks to Kabrio for allowing us to play this, no doubt about that. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. So here you go. If you are struggling, let's talk about this. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. We want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, go to the section that says Find Help, and there's all kinds of information right there. What happens is there's information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. A lot of stuff to cover for sure as we are talking, no doubt about that one. Anyways, in some other news, let's start talking real quick. Gratitude. Yeah, it seems that if you're obligated to tip pretty much anywhere you go, from coffee shops to takeout counters to self-serve kiosks, and many of us, the ask is becoming a bit much. A new Canadian survey shows that more than a third of people are tipping less than any other point a year ago, suggesting that lots of us have reached our peak tip fatigue. According to fintech platform Aiden NV, frustration in the highest fast food chains and self-checkouts. A separate H&R Block Canada survey found that 94% believe that tipping has gotten out of hand, while 90% think that current amounts are too high. Those bringing in $100,000 a year were just likely to tip less than the middle of the year or lower income from a year ago. Younger Canadians are especially annoyed with the new tipping prompts. Other findings, people indicate that they are more interested in rewarding good service these days than the prior years. Only 34% of respondents said that the tip because they expected it, but 71% said that they will tip for a job well done. Digital prompts, which offer suggest tips that are making a purchase, are making a quarter of the respondents tip less than intended. And many suggested that not only the typical gratitudes are too high, but 9% tip would be more than appropriate. I know at this point my coffee costs less than the guilt tip. So there you go. Tipping fatigue. My wallet has been tired for years. So there you go. I don't know. It kind of gets very interesting at times. Like I have taken my car to a car wash where I am interacting with the machine, and the machine is going to wash my car. Somebody sprays the car as you're pulling up, and then there is a tip request in the machine. The other one that I've seen kind of popular as of late is where they ask if you want to donate money to X, Y, and Z. Well, I don't know. When I'm buying food, donating money is not the same thing that I'm thinking about at the time. Normally donations are set up for something different at the time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Who the hell knows around here ever? Duh. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's do something a little bit more happy. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Bill. Joan Collins said, "Show me a person who has never made a mistake, and I'll show you someone who's never achieved much." Very true. I read a story from Michael Jordan talking about his failures, but his successes happened because he failed. If he had stayed in the locker room, he would not have missed that winning shot, but he also would not have gotten any of the other points that he did get, just by trying. Remember that failure is not always bad. Most of the time, you can learn something from your failures. Then you can put yourself in a position to succeed in the future. Winning doesn't usually happen without some failures.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Are you walking through a difficult time right now? Are you dealing with disappointment or coping with loss? Perhaps you feel overwhelmed, as if the Lord has forsaken you. I've been there, and I know how it feels. I won't lie to you. There have been times when the pain was nearly more than I could bear, but always the Lord sustained me. He is no respecter of persons, and what He did for me, He'll do for you. 2 Corinthians 1 says, "We were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure. This happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God." Lord Jesus, when life overwhelms us, teach us to rely on you. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Russian drones have struck civilian areas in Ukraine, causing casualties while Ukraine responded with drone attacks on Russian territory.
The United Nations Security Council is set to hold an emergency meeting on Russian incursions into Estonian airspace. Both sides accused each other of targeting non-military sites in the latest exchanges. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced new sanctions on Russia, including phasing out natural gas purchases by 2027. Estonian officials highlighted the airspace violations as a threat to regional security. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A super typhoon approaching the Philippines has prompted mass evacuations in coastal areas as winds reach dangerous speeds.
Authorities have warned of severe flooding and landslides, with the storm expected to make landfall soon. Residents in vulnerable regions are moving to shelters and emergency services are on high alert. The typhoon has already disrupted transportation and power in some areas. International aid organizations are preparing to assist with relief efforts once the storm passes. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
The Trump administration is preparing to release a report linking autism rates to the use of a common painkiller during pregnancy.
Officials plan to announce findings at an event involving Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The report focuses on acetaminophen, commonly known as Tylenol, and its potential effects. Health experts are reviewing the data for implications on public guidance. The maker of Tylenol has responded by emphasizing existing safety studies. Lawrence Keller reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Rioters clashed with law enforcement at an ICE processing center in Illinois, leading to arrest for assault and property damage.
Protesters threw objects and blocked entrances, demanding the release of detainees. Federal agents arrested 16 individuals involved in the unrest. The facility was processing individuals convicted of crimes, including drug trafficking and assault. Local police did not respond to calls for assistance during the incident. Kevin Sanders reporting.
The White House has announced a deal to keep TikTok operating in the United States, with U.S. U.S. companies controlling key aspects.
Oracle will handle data security, and American firms will hold most board seats. The agreement addresses national security concerns over the app's algorithm. It ensures the U.S. version remains separate from foreign influence. The deal prevents a potential ban on the popular platform. Jessica Oakley reporting.
California has become the first state to ban most law enforcement officers from wearing masks during operations.
The new law aims to increase accountability and transparency in policing. Exceptions apply for health or safety reasons, but general use is prohibited. Supporters say it prevents anonymity in public interactions. The measure takes effect immediately across the state. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Yep, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, no doubt about that, as we are hanging out. Okay, go ahead and take a listen to this one, because you're going to want to know what happened back on this date. Back in 2020, filmmaker David Attenborough breaks the record for the fastest person to reach 1 million followers on Instagram, hitting the milestone just 4 hours and 43 minutes after his first post. He took the crown from actress Jennifer Aniston. David announced his last post just a few weeks later on October the 31st. He has since been true to his word and has not shared any other photos or videos since. That happened back on this date in 2020. If you're looking at some birthdays that are going on today, Hannah Brown turns 31, Ben Platt 32, Gray Damon 38, Jessica Lucas 40, Justin Bruning turns 46, Ross Matthews 46 as well, Stephanie McMahon turns 49 today, Ian Bowen 49 as well, Jackie Sandler turns 51, Eddie George 52, Sean McNabb, turns 60. Kevin Sorbo, 67. Brad Bird turns 68. Harriet Walter turns 75. And Joe Green, oh yes, turned 79 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. It's National Punctuation Day, National Brave Day, and World Gorilla Day. So there you go, some stuff to celebrate for sure. Also, before I forget, yes, September the 30th, 6 days away at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be having a signal theory conversation. If you would like to come and hang out, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that is going on. Get ready to morph your theories into something more. If you're on the screener, all you have to do is scan that barcode. It's a free access pass. We'll do it as a lunch and learn. About an hour or so, we'll hang out, do some stuff, and then kind of vanish inside of to the multiverse. That's kind of what we're planning on doing. So let's take a look at that. So go ahead and scan there. If you're not on the screener, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live events. So there you go. Would love to see you there. Have the virtual discussion for our free event. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's talk real quick. If you need a rando-ando for today, I got one of those for you. And then I thought to myself, what's the point of cleaning if my family is going to keep living here? So there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What unusual thing is in your vehicle right now? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. The average household replaces this item every 10 years. What is it? The vacuum cleaner. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so as we talk about the world of music and entertainment. If you don't want to hang out over there and you want to hang out here on Safety FM, you can hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. That's kind of what the summation of everything is. That is the hangout. That is what we do. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Be yourself, but always your better self. Keep that in mind. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.